It's me again. I'm sitting here getting ready to eat some food, read this book that I'm reading. It's finally, see my umbrella, stopped raining here in San Francisco. And I'm going to talk about, gee, I had it in my head a minute ago. Well, one thing that I was going to do is I was going to show while I spoke one of my favorite hideaways in San Francisco that I discovered, and I was going to point out how many slugs there are. I don't know if it's just this time of year. I think they're all the time. This one I saw was climbing on this tree, and he's not terribly big, but then about to fall. The ground's slippery. I glanced over to the left, and oh damn! Look, I was about to step on one. That's a little tiny one. Oh, but man, there you can get an idea. And then, but I had glanced over to the left, and yeah, here's one on this tree. Oh, two. All right, so we got two. Uh, these these are a little bigger. Like that one's a little bit bigger. But let's go down here. And everybody's like, what the hell does this have to do with music and your quest? And here was going to be my topic, my subject. Basically just looking for help and expressing where I'm at. So I got into music just like literally like a year ago, okay? 50 years old. I was always the person that could not sing. Here we go. Here's the big one. Yeah. I don't know if it's gonna look that way. And he's crawling around. He's got his head out. Okay, he was hiding earlier, and then he came out. Okay, so, jeez. Okay, I gotta get really close to this thing. So there you go. I mean, and part of him's under there. That's his head. And okay, there's no slugs were harmed in the filming of this. So I'm kind of like a slug. I got into singing, I mentioned. I got it by doing karaoke. I had just, oh, geez. Sorry, slug. I like flipped him over and everything. Well, let's see. Anybody ever want to see the belly of a slug? Okay. Jeez. There's like, I don't know. Pet people are gonna, or the animal people are gonna be like all over me, like I was like harassing this slug. That's okay. He's not conscious of. Oh, he's flipping himself over. There he goes, or her. I don't know. I tell the gender of a slug. So musically, so I got into it. I started doing karaoke. I had a great experience. I happened to go to a place that had an awesome KJ. I told her it was my first time. She told me don't worry, and she was right. She was awesome. I won't mention her name since I'm harming this slug right now, but she knows who she is, and I love her. She's awesome. I told her that she was an angel to me, and that karaoke saved my life, and I wasn't really kidding, because I can be obnoxious and sarcastic. She knows that. I was serious, and I think I understand. I'm starting to understand why now. I mean, look at this. Isn't this beautiful? And that relates to the book I picked up at one of these, little free book boxes that you see at different places. This was outside a church, but you see them outside of houses and places. And they have books, and you can take one and leave one and so forth. And I've taken quite a few. So this one, C.G. Jung speaking, this is the Swiss gentleman who started what is now called Jungian psychology. I'm probably pronouncing that all wrong, or analytical psychology, psychoanalysis. He was a peer, I guess, of Sigmund Freud. but then he differed from Freud, and they parted ways. And I didn't really know that much about this guy, but I started reading this book. It attracted my attention because it said it was interviews and encounters, and I thought it might tell me something about the guy, and it did. Oh, it's flashing a warning. Or no, it's just that's the red light. Oh my God, I'm still learning how to like do video on this darn phone. And all right, we're still going. Let's check out this flower. So the other day, this flower over here, I don't know if you can tell, it's starting to die. It doesn't look as magnificent as it was, but this one over here, I think is right at its prime. So let's go look at this flower. Anyhow, I've learned a lot from the book. It's given me kind of an overview of Jungian psychology, but it's all from this guy's point of view, in his own words, and it goes over. I'm about halfway through the book, but it's actually towards the end of his life. I think now, he's like 77 at the point in the book here that they're referencing, and it starts with his early interviews and articles about him. So it's pretty much gone over his entire life. So I feel like I have a sense of the man. The Red Book has since been published just in like maybe 10 years ago. It came out well after his life. That was a book of artwork and weird stuff that he worked on for 16 years. It was his sort of artistic outlet. And in this book and in his advocating, he talks about having a second life, which certainly applies to me, and also balancing with your creative side and getting in touch with nature and the sort of animalistic side of who we are as Homo sapiens, human beings. What I was born into, didn't choose, and so forth, but that's other subjects. And look, this is a 7.5 minute video so far. And so I realized that the singing fits a lot of what I'm reading in this book with Carl. I'll call him Carl. CG. He lets me call him Carl. No, really, anyway, he wrote this stuff like 100 years ago. It started in 1912, I think, was like the first article, and he does an assessment of America, and I thought it was like really, 9 out of 10, spot on. Very insightful guy about people and people in groups and leaders and governments and stuff like that and societies. And so I did karaoke a lot. It was great for me. I went about 60 days in Seattle, going every night. Sometimes a couple times the one bar started early on certain nights, because usually it's 9 to 2 in the morning. And I did karaoke, and I missed 3 nights out of those 60. And it just sustained me through the miserable winter months in Seattle. And now I want to move on from karaoke, and I was thinking of starting a band doing cover songs, but instead I've now decided to do, well, as an interim step, do some busking. And a keyboard would be great, but I don't have a keyboard. And and anybody that wants to find out more about you musically, they want to hear you, so I need to get recordings of myself singing, and that's again a challenge. But I'm doing this video blogging, whatever the hell I'm doing here, and my thought was to start doing a cappella, like in order to get some money, to get a